by Scott Martin, Chief Strategist for United Advisors and a Fox News contributor, and Lance Ulanoff, Mashable Editor-at-Large. Lance, let me start with you. So you heard Joe say it, that it's historic. Do you agree?
Well, he still sold, what was it, 49 million? How many phones did they sell? I mean, it's actually kind of, all the numbers centered about where I thought they would be. We knew this would be a down quarter. You know, in general, Q2 is going to be a down quarter for them. We also knew that, you know, they don't have the iPhone SE to really factor in yet, sales of that, which really, hopefully they want to drive into, in particular, China. So, you know, they don't have that to sort of drive along. And the iPhone 6s and the 6s Plus are sort of the minor upgrades to the iPhone. So it's, you know, it's not as big a year. So even though, you know, a lot of people are saying this is like their big miss, most of the numbers I heard are kind of within where I predicted they would be. I mean, each time you see the quarter after a holiday season, it's like this.
Scott, they still lowered guidance for next quarter, though. I mean, it seems like there's a trend in here.
Yeah, and I think contrary to Lance's point there, Melissa, I mean, if these numbers are where you thought they'd be, and I know Lance isn't the stock market, the stock wouldn't be down 5% after market. I actually think this is historically bad for the company. I mean, this is not, what's the saying, your father's Apple stock anymore. I mean, this is a company that doesn't have the game-changing products that it once did. And I think the problem you're going to have, Apple reminds me of like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend. You're super negative on them because you own the stock, but you don't. They still come around. You can't get rid of them, and that's the problem. Like, everybody owns Apple. They don't like it, but they can't get rid of it. So there's nobody left to buy it either at these levels. That's why the stock's under pressure.
Scott, do you have a lot of ex-girlfriends hanging around? I mean, what is, you lost me halfway through. You know what? That's a conversation for another time.
I've totally forgotten about Christy and Anna from high school. I don't even remember them. But it's very important to keep in mind, Melissa, that when you have a stock that's over-owned and it comes out with results like it did today that don't impress, David mentioned it, Joe Ling hit it, they didn't beat on the top line, they didn't even beat on the bottom line, the stock's going to get pummeled when it's like that because people expect greatness from Apple. They can't deliver that anymore.
Okay. Well, Lance, the question is always, what's the next great thing coming out of Apple?
Well, that is a very good question because, you know, is it going to be the so-called Apple car that everyone's talking about? Right. You know, that, you know, supposedly Daimler, you know, kind of BMW rejected them on working on it. That was one of the reports we saw. And, you know, an Apple car would be exciting, but that's a super tough industry to break into. So it's not going to be a game changer on the revenue front. They are going to have the iPhone 7 in the fall, and it's probably going to be a fairly radical redesign. And when you have a radically redesigned iPhone, usually have sales in the tens of millions. Okay. And that's probably what we're going to be looking for.
Scott, Apple is not my ex-boyfriend. In fact, before my kids were born, we had everything that was not Apple. We didn't have a single Apple product. Now everything in our house is Apple. Every phone, every computer, every iPad, Apple TV, Apple everything. And we're not switching anytime soon. So as you say this company is, I don't see it. I mean, it's not losing its ubiquity.
Yeah, and I guess we'll stay on this theme. I mean, are you really happy about that, though, Melissa?
Yes.
Like, do you see a future with you and Apple? See, I don't. And I talked to a lot of people today about how they feel about their Apple products and this, like, ecosystem. And people aren't really that psyched about it anymore. So it's kind of like, to me, I think Apple's getting caught by other competition. Amazon is caught up to them. They're getting killed in the content space. Who uses iTunes anymore? They've been caught, and I think that's why the stock is a little bit dangerous here.
Okay. So Apple's my bad boyfriend that I don't even know is misbehaving yet, and I'm just kind of there taking it. All right.
Whoa. Don't even get me into the car. The Apple car's a horrible idea.
Let's get out of this. It's terrible.